What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video today. If you guys don't know me already, my name is Daniel Diaz. Over the last year and 6 months, I have been documenting my entire agency progress from me having a $0 agency to me and my business partner Matt scaling up to 20K a month just by sending cold emails. We have a very traditional business model. We just specialize in this one thing. It is our bread and butter. We also do LinkedIn outbound as well. But we have been doing this the last almost year and a half now. And if you guys haven't looked at my earlier videos, and if you're new to this agency space, I really recommend you do watch those because you get to see the full picture of what it's actually like to scale up an agency. Us getting our first client. Now we have 8 clients across the clientele. We're crushing for our clients. We're delivering amazing results. We've hired people. We have talked with a lot of business industry leaders, such as Nigel Thomas. He runs one of the largest UK communities for agency owners. We also talked with we've partnered with a couple of guys from Acquisition, Alex Hermosi's company. And yeah, in this video, I'm literally just going to be breaking down the main things I've learned building this agency and some of the things I wish I knew before I started. So, and just so you guys know, I'm 21 years old. I'm still fairly young, but I've been getting a lot of experience these last couple of years, or last year and a half. And yeah, so the first thing I wish I knew before I started was feedback is your best friend. Okay? And it's not just with your service delivery. Feedback is your best friend with clients, okay? With your service, employees. This is what actually makes your business better. Okay? So what I mean by this is feedback lets your business get better by having inputs, okay? And after you get an input, you obviously get outputs. When you take those outputs and you're able to dissect them and figure out, okay, how can I make this better? What are people saying back to me? You're able to put that back into the input, okay? So the rest of the output just keeps on continuously getting better and better. I'll give you a few examples. So we had a couple of clients tell us that they wanted to be able to see more visibility with results, like how many emails we've sent last week, how many interested leads we've got. Normally we do bi-weekly reports, but it doesn't matter. We thought it was okay to do bi-weekly reports, but from the feedback our clients gave us, we then implemented a new system where every single week we have an automation that goes out across all of our clients' Slack channels that updates them of the last week's campaign performance. Okay, so we didn't really see that before. We didn't know that was needed. So we kind of ignored it. But based off of the feedback we got, all of our clients said very similar things. We were able to implement that. And now, guess what? All the new clients we on board, they won't have to face that. That's what we mean by continuous improvements. Another example as well, with our cold email outbound, with our actual service delivery. When we send more emails, okay, we're able to collect feedback very quickly. We're able to read replies and see what the actual market is saying about our copy, about the offer. And most people, they just fucking ignore this. But you can't ignore this. This is so valuable. If you take all of the things people are saying, or all of the replies you're getting, I would say, and you're able to effectively read that, and whenever you launch a new campaign, you adjust it to what the feedback actually said. It's a flywheel. Inputs, outputs. You get the outputs, back in the inputs, and now the outputs are refined more. So that's one. Okay, feedback is your best friend. 2, speed and urgency is king. Okay, let me get a few examples on this. So normally we have everyone has limiting beliefs, okay? You might think you might not be able to do something. Okay? But this is actually what is holding you back. Okay? So instead of thinking I can't do this, how, like, if you see someone else doing something, like another person in your space that's doing something, you're like, I can't do this. But instead you want to reframe that and be like, okay, how can I do that? Okay? Also, not just that, but how quick can it be done? Next, priorities matter. Okay? Whenever you wake up and you have a lot to do, it's hard to kind of organize what is the highest priority task item on my, like, what is the highest leverage thing I can do for my business today? That is your first thought in the morning when you wake up and sit at your desk. That is what you have to say. What is the highest leverage thing I can do for my business today? A good trick I use is I got this from Brian Tracy. It's the ABCDE method. Okay, so A is your highest leverage task. Okay, B would be, this is important, but it's not the highest leverage task. Okay, C would be like, this would be nice to do, but it's not imperative that it's done. D would be delegate. Okay, I don't have to do this. Who can I delegate this item to? E would be to eliminate. Do I really need to do this today? Like, ask yourself these questions. And I actually have a to-do list that is formatted like A, B, C, D, and E. And I categorize all of my to-do tasks accordingly to that. And that's how I actually sit down at my desk and can effectively be like, okay, this is my highest leverage task today. I'm not going to start on the B tasks until all of the A's are done. Then after all the B's are done, I can get into the nice to-dos, and then so on and so forth. Okay, because your time is very important. And in your business, it's always growing. There's always going to be changes you can make. There's always more work to do, which is fantastic because I love the work. I love the grind. So another good trick I use, tip, whatever, is before or the night before a work day, I like to set those tasks the night before. Just so when I actually wake up, I don't have to take the time to think what I'm going to do today. It's just intent, focus. I put in my AirPods, pop a Zin, and I just crush. I'm wired in for 8 hours, and then I go to the gym, and then I clock back in, of course. But yeah, your time is super important. So the more organized you are with your tasks, the more organized your thoughts are going to be, and the more efficient you're going to be able to get these tasks done, and the quicker you actually move your business forward in the right direction. Not in the wrong direction, but in the right forward direction, if that makes sense. 4, your mindset, thoughts, emotions reflect directly in your business. Okay, what do I mean by this? Your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings reflects on your business, bro. Believe it or not, it does reflect on your business. Okay, a business is used to express yourself. It is an art form. Okay? So before I work, I like to prime my mind with the right information so when I sit down, I'm in the right headspace to effectively tackle these tasks. Because every single day, we're all human. We wake up and we're like, I don't want to work today. Your thoughts are crowded. Like, you're thinking about other things that aren't important. But it's important to prime your mind. And how I do this is by reading books, okay? First of all, the Bible. The Bible is fantastic for this. And another book I read is Reality Transurfing. Those are the 2 books I read every single morning. Not full, front page to back page, but like a couple of highlights just to prime my mind, And this ties back into identity. These books tie into my identity. So when I'm grounded in that identity, I'm able to realize I am an agency owner, you know? I am responsible for these tasks. I have duties, you know? These are important items to tackle. And what this also does, it inspires that feeling of inspiration. You know, when you feel inspired to work, you get so much more creative. You know, you're able to think outside the box. You're able to be different, you know? You're able to be locked in harder, you know, just focused, because you know that, you know, you're inspired. You know, you have that feeling inside of you. And obviously some days you're gonna struggle to get that inspiration feeling. You don't want to rely on it, but it's good to be grounded in that. Okay. I also listen to podcasts in the morning. I sometimes look over future items I'd like to purchase, even though I don't have money for it. You know? So all of these things add on to that. And also prayer. Prayer is super important. Prayer has led me to the success I've seen so far, because it's a very stressful space. You know, running and scaling an agency, super, super stressful, bro. You know, you have clients to deal with. They all rely on you. You are in charge of everything. You know, you're the boss man. So obviously it's more stressful. And how I like to think about this is, you know, treating your business like a baby. Okay? You want to enjoy watching your creation evolve, just like a mother watches her baby grow. You know, watching her baby watching her baby take the first steps, you know, watching her baby go to preschool. A mother takes enjoyment in watching these things evolve. And that should be the same with your business, you know? You want to nurture it. You want to grow it, care for it, just like how a mother does. Treat your business exactly like your baby. The next, sacrifice. Sacrificing things. And I'll get into this right now. I've had to sacrifice multiple friendships to get where I'm at right now. Multiple friendships. And the reason is that the more things you have in your life, the more distractions you have. Okay? The more distractions you have, the more you're likely to fuck off on your business and go hang out with your friends or go do some sort of activity, goy-slop. So, for example, I've had to sacrifice going out multiple times. I have a beautiful girlfriend that I love very much, but I've had to sacrifice a lot of time with her to work on the business. And it's something you have to accept. My girlfriend, she's amazing, but when I'm working all day long, I sometimes don't answer the phone. I sometimes, you know, I accidentally ignore her because I'm locked in on my computer all day. And she calls me and she's like, "Why are you ignoring me?" You know, I'm like, "I'm not ignoring you. Like, I'm working on my business, I'm trying to make it out for us." So you're gonna have to deal with these things. It just comes with building a business, and you can't get annoyed by it. You have to make them understand as much as they can. But that's just one example of sacrifice. You know, I've had to sacrifice multiple dates, multiple trips, just so I can work on this. So sacrifice, man. That is what you need to do. Sacrifice going out. Sacrifice watching TV. Sacrifice eating junk food, because, you know, how you treat your body is exactly how you treat your business. You know, it's a reflection, like I said earlier. How you do one thing is how you do everything, bro. And that's something I've learned early on. Real shit. Next, do things your own way. Okay, what do I mean by this? Don't just listen to all of these industry leaders and just copy them, whatever they do. This is a very big mistake. Some of the biggest success we have seen is when we do the complete opposite of what everyone's doing, bro. So again, that's when you need to get creative. That's when you need to think outside the box. Sometimes when you have the feeling of inspiration, you're able to get there. Obviously, if you watch someone in your space, you can obviously get ideas from them, but at least tweak it. Like, at least do it differently than they do it, you know? Don't just do it word for word. And that's how you continuously stand out. Comparing all these other agencies, that is actually how you stand out from the crowd. Doing things differently. You know, don't just copy everyone blindly. All right, next. Work insanely hard. This ties back into the sacrifice. But there's no reason you cannot be the hardest worker in the room every single day. It doesn't matter if your partner is lazy. It doesn't matter if your employees are lazy, which they shouldn't, obviously. I hope they're not. But it's your job to be the hardest worker in the room, showing up every single day and putting in 8 to 12 hours every single day. You know, even when you don't feel like it, which is the hardest part. You have to sometimes drag yourself to your desk. And if you have employees, if you have partners, they're going to copy you. They're going to emulate you. And that's how you actually build an amazing culture. That's how Alex Hormozi built his culture at Acquisition, you know, because he works so hard. All of his other employees are up to that standard. They're constantly moving. They're constantly optimizing. They're always working. They're not chatting on their coffee breaks, you know. They're wired and they're focusing on their highest leverage tasks, those 8 tasks I mentioned. And they're just crushing. And, you know, it's your job as an owner, or if you're starting an agency, to set that example, you know? So, work insanely hard. You know, I've been doing this for the last year and a half. I've been working every single day. Literally every single day. And I love what I do, bro. I absolutely love what I do. And that's probably why I'm able to work hard. So, you have to, like, even if you don't like what you do, which I don't know why you wouldn't, you might have to brainwash yourself into thinking that you love what you do so you can work hard. Because if you don't love what you do, you don't have that heart to mind connection. You know, you don't have that fluency between your work and your personal life. You know, because again, you have to sacrifice your personal life and you have to work hard. You have to show up every day, and I'm sure you guys know all of these things. You know, you got to go all in or don't even try at all. Because there's dogs that are crushing like me and my business partner every single day, and we're just going to gap you. You're going to get left behind in the dust by us. You know? And we're not even close to where we want to be, bro. Like, we're trying to be the biggest lead gen agency in North America. You know, we're not just trying to be a pump and dump agency. We are literally trying to be one of the biggest lead gen agencies in North America, bro. So, yeah. Next one. This one is a big one. Find a brother. Find a partner that you can lock in with. That's what I'm doing right now. And if it wasn't for that, I would not be where I'm at today. I'm not going to respectfully say that. You know, how me and my business partner have it set up within our agency is he manages all of the sales and operations, and he handles all the sales and marketing, and I handle all the operations. Okay? If you are one person and you're handling sales, marketing, operations, client comms, you know, all of these different things, you're going to drown. And one of those apartments will end up diluting. And you don't want that diluting, bro. Marketing and sales is how you actually get more business, is how you actually make more money. And the operations is how you actually build a good reputation and build trust with other agencies and get those amazing referrals, which we have gotten. For example, Nigel Thomas, he's He runs a very large community for agency owners. And just because our operations are set up so effectively and we get amazing results, because I handle operations, he handles sales and marketing, he's been giving us multiple referrals. Just because we're able to crush, and people within that community are like, yeah, Valente, that's our company name, Valente, like, these guys crush. And then, we've got introduced to a deal, and now we're working with a very large industry leader, and we're going to get multiple more referrals just from that connection. And that's what happens when you actually have good fulfillment, so that's basically the main things I've learned running an agency. There's obviously more I'd love to yap about, but yeah, I'm just going to keep it short. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe, and I'm going to try to be more consistent, bro. It's hard to be consistent on YouTube when you're just grinding every day. I need a team or something, bro. I need someone to help me with this. So also, if you could help me with this, I'm willing to pay you for it. So leave a comment if you're down to help by any means. So yeah, God bless, take care, and hope you guys have a phenomenal rest of your day. God bless. Peace out.